I'm not gonna call. I know she won't pick up. A week ago, Chloe and I were living together. After dumping me, she started crashing at Benny's house. Benny hates me, and honestly, I fucking hate her too. But I've got to see Chloe. So I jump into my car and head over to Benny's. On the drive over, I try to figure out the best way to avoid the inevitable confrontation. Anna, Benny's partner, works the late shift at Mass General. I figure all I have to do is wait for Benny to leave around 3:30 to pick up Anna, and then I'm in. I watch Benny step out of the front door, jump into her Jeep, and then drive away. The clunky sound of her engine shoved off into the distance. It takes everything I have to wait and wait, just to make sure Benny is completely out of sight. Before I run up the stairs of the apartment complex, and when I get to the door, I freeze. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure whether or not to pound and scream and demand that she let me in, or whether I should quietly beg and plead for her to just listen. At first, a gentle tapping of the knuckles. Then I gradually increased the pressure and began pounding my fist on the door. I screamed, "Chloe! Chloe, open up!" Nothing. "Come on, please, I just want to talk." I can hear movement behind the door. It's Chloe, it has to be, but she won't respond. So I bang harder and louder. Fuck the neighbors, they don't care about us anyway. "Oh, Chloe, come on, open the fucking door! Please." Again, nothing. I lower my head, take a few deep breaths, and wonder. I wonder if I'm strong enough to break the door down. I wonder, how long will it take for the neighbors to call the cops? You know, a night like this can only end in a restraining order. Is it worth it? I mean, what if I just wait a couple of weeks and let her cool down? Nah, fuck that. I barrel down the stairs hoping that the back porch is accessible in some way. I'll fucking grow wings if I have to. The apartment complex is a long, narrow, 2-story gray building. Out back are about a half a dozen industrial-sized dumpsters lined up in a row, the perfect stepping stones to reach my destination. I stand there for a second, crane my head upwards and wonder, am I really doing this? I mean, it isn't that great a distance, it feels like miles up to the summit, at the top of which is a woman I know who really does not want to see me. I reach over and I close the top of the dumpster directly beneath Benny's apartment. The sound it makes, a loud reverberating clang, accentuated by the silence around it, is louder than I expect. It rattles me, but only for a second. I climb on top of the plastic lid and scale up the fire escape, which leads to the back of Benny's. Should I call out or just roll in? I mean, is it too late to be subtle? Maybe she thinks I left. Up here, 20 feet above the ground, I first noticed the breeze. It's cooler, the air is stiff and brittle, perfect for clearing a cluttered mind. A long, open-air porch stretches the length of the entire complex. I can see the darkened doors of each of her neighbors on either side of hers in front of me. I straighten myself out and twist the handle on the back door. God, these fucking hippies. They share an exit with the entire complex and they still don't lock their door, which opens directly into their kitchen. Empty bottles and cans and plastic containers in one bin to my right, the compost on my left, and it looks like they reserved the floor for the garbage. Nice, I guess. I make my way through the kitchen to the living room. There are piles of clothing everywhere, next to beer cans, abandoned art projects, and shoes. So many fucking shoes. Then I notice a strip of light coming from beyond the living room. In the darkness, the light halos around the edge of the bathroom door. I can hear the sound of rushing water coming from behind it. Chloe? I press my ear to the door and hear nothing but that flowing sound. Baby, what's going on? I grab the handle and it doesn't give. She's locked in and I'm locked out. Not much has changed. An eerie feeling creeps in between the lines of silence that separate us. Something's not right. What is she doing in there? You know what, fuck it, I'm tired of this. This is not like her. Stepping back as far as I can, I kick in the door. The scene comes to me in kaleidoscopic vision, fragmented pieces of everything at once. Her body on the ground, the running faucets in the sinking tub, the blood everywhere. I freeze. A scattered mess of toothbrushes, tiny slivers of used up soap bars, hand towels, and a single razor gleamed up at me from the ghostly pale alabaster tile. Chloe had cut deep gashes into her wrists and lay on the floor. A small amount of life is still present in her twitching body. There's a tremor of residual movement on her lips. It's like she's trying to say something, but the sound has cut out. I try to piece together the words. It's amazing how fuck you and love you look exactly the same when no sound is coming out of someone's mouth and their lips move slowly towards their unnatural end. I know it, but I don't want to believe it. I slide down onto the floor and blur closer to me. My first instincts are often the worst when I panic, like trying to apply pressure to her wrists, only to end up covering myself in blood, or not calling the cops when I obviously should. But before I can even process anything, she's gone. A blooming heat sprouts out from underneath my cheeks, spreading down my face and neck. I hold her closer and breathe in the last of her living scent. I tell her that I'm here, finally. I try to reason my way through what brought us here, the splinter in our relationship, Chloe's emotional breakdown, the overdose of her cis brother that caused it, or the gear that I sold him. It could have been the lying, my lying, that caused the disintegrating trust that created a gulf between us. Honestly, it could have been any of these things. Open fountains, open faucets shout the sound of crashing water onto porcelain, but not in that same hurried way as earlier. More like the sound of a building implosion played backwards in half speed. Like her lips, everything slows down. For the first time in I don't know how long, I feel the pangs of guilt as powerfully as the pangs of love and lust, and it's confusing. I cradle her head underneath my chin. The gel in her hair is still stiff and prickly. The way it feels reminds me of the first night that we had met. She had carried me home from a party after I had way too much to drink. The comedic swaying of her body under the weight of mine, between floating snowflakes that moved a millisecond at a time, made us both look drunk to those that passed us. The way my arm crept over her shoulder, our bodies hermetically sealed together against the cold, as the sharp quills from her pink spiky hair scraped across the bottom of my jaw. That instinct to protect each other had already been born. This was before she had to spar with my inner masshole. She used to joke that it was something like an inner child, but from Massachusetts. And that was us in the beginning, before we turned. Like crocodile before addiction turned us into something else and we grew scales. And who we were just vanished. But now I'm here. I stay with her on the floor amid the parachuting snowflakes of the night that we first met. I stay until I hear the unmistakable sound of Benny's engine pull into the parking lot. Fuck. There's nothing that I can do. Nothing that I can come up with that'll explain any of this. Regardless of what I say, I'll be blamed. I mean, come on, it's me, Nikki. It's always me. It always has been. I got no choice. I got no choice but to take the back exit and make my way home. I lay her down gently, knowing that this will be the last time that I hold her body. A body that I held 1,000,000 times, a body that I loved and kissed, then poisoned, and through my narcissism destroyed. Her body, still warm but totally lifeless. Goodbye, Chloe.